Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a full face of makeup brands that are quite new to me. Some of these I've actually only tried very recently or not at all. Some of these I've had for a couple of months, but I'm quickly discovering that I would love to try even more of these brands. It's just brands that I'm excited about at the moment, brands that piqued my interest. I think that's the theme of today's video. So I hope you enjoy. Remember to subscribe if you do like this video. My name is Cecile. I live in the Netherlands and I upload, well, it's usually 3 times a week. I'm also uploading shorts now, if that's more your speed. So subscribe if any of that sounds interesting to you. And now let's get right into this full face of brand new brands. So we're going to start with eyes. I've already primed my eyes using the very last little bit of this BU eyeshadow primer. And this is not something that you haven't seen before on my channel, but it is still quite new to me, and that is this palette from Adept. But I did add a little twist. So this is the Minka palette. We're just going to do another look with it. But I'm also going to implement this little Clionadh eyeshadow. I've recently been starting to get interested in single shadows. I have a couple of Lethal Cosmetics, could have used those as well, but this one is actually a little bit newer. This is from the Stained Glass collection. These are the iconic square-shaped multichromes. And this one is in the shade Luminaire, and I'll swatch it. So I think this is really interesting because I really wanted the yellow one. And if I look at my hand like this, it actually does look yellow, but if I look in the viewfinder or in my phone, it just looks purple pink. So yeah, you see it switches from gold, yellow gold, to purpley pink to green. This is actually a really cool one. So of course these multichromes are a little bit more expensive, so I buy them one at a time. And this is my most recent one. So this is going to be the star of the show, but I'm going to add the other things from the Adept palette. Today I'm going to start with the dark purple and this slightly fluffy brush. So I think I have a couple of very nice things because I've been discovering K-beauty, so I have a couple of those items. I've been discovering more mid-range brands like Moira and Kimchi Chic Beauty. And then I've been discovering indie brands like Adept and Clionadh. So I feel like that's a nice mix of everything. I never thought I would use this Adept palette more as a background. I honestly feel like it's a center stage palette, but honestly the mattes are already so good that you can do this perfectly well. So I wanted that purple to be nice and intense, but now I am cleaning off this brush on the back of my hand and I'm going into the paler purple as well. And I'm going to blend out all the edges. Now before I add my multichrome, I'm going to add just a little bit of one of these shimmers, which is going to be Luna, this beautiful dark blue shade. I'm going to put that on the outer half of the center of my lid. And now also taking my finger and I'm going into that multichrome. I'm going to overlap it slightly. And this is a very different formula. Honestly, I wish that these Clionadh stained glass shadows were a little bit more sparkly. But the shift is very beautiful and I like the fact that they have a white base. I'm also taking a small pencil brush so I can put that Clionadh shade in my inner corner. And you know what? I'm also going to put it underneath my brows. I'm not sure if it'll work, but we're doing it. I actually think that works. And now with the same brush, I'm also taking a little bit of Maya, which is the sparkly pinky shade from the Adept palette. And I'm just putting that underneath the lower lash line. I think that's very pretty. I'm just taking a little bit more of Luna. I want it to be a little bit more noticeable. And that's the eye look. I'm going to go off camera, add some liner and lashes, and then we'll do some face makeup together. All right, I'm back. These are my eyes. I think they're very dramatic, but I love them. I used my Clionadh eye pencil in this pinky shade in my lower waterline, and this Urban Decay pencil in the shade Vice in my top waterline, and I also lined my lashes with it. Then I used my Lift Up mascara, which is stupid because I actually had this one to try. But we'll try that another time. And I use these lashes. They're from Glamlight. They're from the Strawberry Shortcake collection. And they're a little bit long, but they don't, the thickness isn't all the way through the end. So I think they work. But they're definitely a little bit more dramatic than some other lashes that I've worn recently. So that's all you missed. So now I have some face products. So what we're going to test today is this Cica Clearing BB Cream from Purito. This is one of the K-beauty things that I wanted to try. I really don't know how well this is going to go. I'm not going to use any primer. I wanted to, but I also kind of want to see what this looks like on its own. So the shade I have is number 13 Neutral Ivory. It comes in this simple tube. It's a vegan formula. Looks a little bit like toothpaste. Okay, it might be a little bit dark, but it might also just work. So I'm taking this foundation brush. Okay, this color is actually not bad. The formula is a lot drier than I was expecting. It looks pretty matte. Or should I say natural? It's a little bit more difficult to apply because it's a little bit streaky. I think that's because it's a little bit more dry and also the formula is kind of thick. But once you blend it out, and you can go at it pretty aggressively, I feel like, it does blend, it doesn't lift, and it looks kind of even. You just have to work with it a little bit, really work it into your skin. And then the coverage is actually not bad either. I'd say it's a good medium. I was expecting something a lot lighter. I actually really like the way this worked out, and I take back what I said, it's not very matte at all. It's just that it's a little bit more of a dry formula. But there is a nice luminosity in this product once you've really worked it into the skin. This actually looks really pretty. And the beauty of these K-beauty products is that they're usually not really expensive either. So I think this one was below 15 euros. Honestly, I'm really in love with this one. The color is kind of good. It's a little bit too orange. Just a little bit. My skin type is normal, by the way, so this is what it does on normal skin. Moving right along, we also have a new concealer. This is the Mega Concealer from Moira. It's waterproof and full coverage, and I have it in the shade 150 Cream. I thought this was going to be a little bit lighter, but I think it's actually, well, it's okay, but it's a little bit deep maybe. Undertone of this one was really good. The other ones were a little bit too pink for me, I felt like. Also taking this a little bit lower because that skin tint or BB cream did not fully cover my redness, which is fine, but I want to see how this concealer works in that area. A little bit on my nose. And even though this is more full coverage, I'm still going to let it sit for a little bit while we try out this brow product. I've been waiting for this to come to the Netherlands because I saw Vianney Strick review it recently, and I fell in love with how it looked on her and how she explained it worked. So this is the Wet n Wild Brow Maximizer Powder and Gel Duo. They only had one shade, so I don't know what's up with that, but it was medium brown, so I figured it would probably work for me. And Wet n Wild is a brand, I did try their foundation at some point. You know, I've tried some things over the last couple of months, but really quite recently. So I have one or two things that I want to put in this video. So let's first add the powder. I actually like eyebrow powders. I used to have one from Lancome, which I really loved. So I don't know if you have to spoolie this out beforehand, but let's first blend out the concealer. So I'm just going to use the same brush. This one works perfectly. Oh yeah, this is definitely pretty full coverage. I love the way this is blending out. It goes very effortlessly. So there's a little concealer brush on the other end, and I'm going to use that around the eyeshadow. All right, that actually looks really, really nice. I'd say this finish is a little bit more satin, leaning matte, but also, well, I guess there's a little bit of shine right over here. It really matches very well with that skin tint. Now let's set the face with another Moira product, which is this loose powder, which I did use in my last video. And I said that it wasn't quite as blurring as my Givenchy powder, but that I did really like the fact that it was very pink. So I'm going to use this to set the concealer. Yeah, you can definitely see that there's a whiteness from the purple coming through, and I like it. And I don't mind this powder at all. It was just that with the concealer that I was using and just what I'm used to recently, it was a little bit less blurry, but I must say, this Moira concealer is very blurring on its own. So that kinda makes the powder blurry enough on its own as well. I'm just going to set the center of my face with this. It did mattify quite a bit. So there was a lot of glow over here, which I kind of liked. And that's gone now, but I still like the way it looks underneath my eyes. I think they look kind of good. Let me quickly add a little bit of this bronzer from the Chanel palette that I've been using as a mirror, because I don't really have a bronzer that fits into this tried recently category. I guess I haven't really been testing out a lot of bronzers at all lately. Now, before we go on to blush and everything, we do have that other side of the brow product left to try. So this is the brow gel, and it's just a clear one. Oh, wow, that's actually a really, really strong brow gel. We're going to see if it stays this way until the end of the video, but I'm so impressed. I was honestly not having high hopes, because my brow hairs are very slippery and they usually don't hold very well. This could be a game changer for me. Look at that! And it blended out the powder that I used really well. I actually really like this color for my brows. Okay, we're having a good makeup day. Let's see if this next product will add to that. Because I have these blushes. I did show them in the last video as well. These are from Romand. I have the apricot milk and the strawberry milk, and we did try the apricot milk in the other video, so I'm going to try the strawberry milk today. These are beautiful, very light blushes that feel very velvety, and they don't feel powdery, and they're just very smooth and blurring and beautiful. So I have a clean brush because I want to see what the impact of this is absolutely on its own. It's a little bit of a weird brush, but we're going to try it. Look at that color. Oh, that's beautiful. And since I'm so fair, I thought it might work for me to have these really, really pale colors for blush. Yeah, I like that. It's a very different vibe from the pink blushes that I usually have. But they almost illuminate a little bit. I am going to take my regular blush brush because the other one just was too flimsy. I think that's beautiful. It's subtle, but I like it. So that was Strawberry Milk from Romand, which is another K-beauty brand. And then to finish up the face, I want to try the Kimchi Chic Beauty highlighter again. I tried this one in my comparison video and I really liked it. So we're trying it again. Oh, by the way, this is in the shade Pearl Gone White. Pearl Gone Wild in the shade Hope. So this is the finished Pearl Gone Wild, and it's in the shade Hope. I like it. It's actually a little bit more subtle than you might think when you see this packaging. Yeah, I like it. Then finally we need something on the lips, and what I have is the final K-Beauty product. This is from Etude, and it's this really cute little lip stain, I think it's going to be. So this is the packaging. I have mine in the shade 08. I'm not really sure if there was another name for it, but RD308. It's the Dear Darling Water Gel Tint. And I thought I'd take a really punchy shade because this is probably going to be more of a sheer product. So it looks like a little ice cream, but it has a regular doe foot. Alright, so it's supposed to be more of a lip stain, so I'm going to leave it on for just a couple of seconds. And then I'll wipe it off, and then I have more of a liquid lip balm that I'm going to put on top. But I think this is kind of pretty on its own as well. Okay, so it did stain a little bit, but it only stained where I put it down first. But that was actually my intention, because I like this effect where you have the color on the inside of your mouth. And it did stain the outside a little bit as well, but not nearly as much. So I think this is a nice product. I am curious what would happen if I put it on a little bit longer, but oh well. And then finally we're closing the video off with some Wet n Wild again. So Wet n Wild released these rose comforting lip colors, which are supposed to be, I think, more of a liquid lip balm or a colorful lip balm. They have this twist up mechanism, and I've been loving this shade. This is the shade Biscotti Mommy, which is a very pinky color. And the weird thing about these is that at the moment it still looks a little bit goopy, but after a couple of minutes they sort of smooth out and the lines disappear and it just looks beautiful, and it's very long lasting as well. So I like it with that little lip tint underneath, and I really like this color on its own either way. So with that, we've come to the end of this video. This is what my current new discovered brands have given me, and I love it. So I think these are all keepers, and I definitely want to try more things of these brands in the future, but now you know which brands I have my eye on at the moment. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you liked the video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.